हाँ लगा दिया ना, हाँ ठीक है. Okay, so I hope you have brought your books with you today. Yeah. Samindra Singh, and if possible your NCRTs also. Hi, good afternoon Kanchan, Sonakshi, Priya, Aman, Tariq, Snehal, Abhishek, Amit. I see quite a bit of new names. The new batch students maybe. Hi Vaseem, Vishal, Hiba, Rohit, Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi, the same Vaishnavi I know in the other group also. But good to have you here. Good afternoon, Kuldeep, Riyanka, Daksh. Okay. Yashika. ठीक है. चलो, let's get started now. First 2-3 clarifications for the older ones also, and maybe the new students. What was that? Acha, okay, Vaishnavi. Yeah, happy to have you here. Acha, ठीक है. Okay. So, one question some of you asked me is about the synopsis writing. Let me explain quickly first here. Synopsis is essentially summary writing. Okay, and I'll explain this to you. Why summary? Because summary is where you are processing information. Okay, जब आप क्लास में पढ़ रहे होते हो, I'm dictating some facts, or you're copying down from the board or the books. Many a times you are copying mechanically, and there is speed. I accept that. I cannot teach at a convenient pace कि सबको एक साथ समझ में आएगा, वो नहीं होगा. Some of you will miss out, some of you will understand faster. So class का एक pace है. You must go back and read again. Okay, read again with some objective of processing. I'm forcing you to think. If you just copy the notes, फिर वो mechanical हो गया. But if I tell you, no, don't copy the notes, but pick up the most important word, convert the written paragraphs into schematics, convert the written lines into diagrams. तो आप सोच रहे हो. That thinking process is what helps you memorize. Okay, the synopsis is a very conscious way of making you study. That's the point. अगर synopsis नहीं कर रहे हो, your thinking won't happen. In fact, your best doubts are after you have done this. So many of you ask me impulsive doubts. हम बात कर रहे हैं या आगे मन में पूछ दिया आपने. But the actual doubts are, you go back to your room, you read again, you make some jottings, make some summaries, you try understanding the relationships, और फिर ना हुआ, that's a genuine doubt. And in most cases I've seen more than 90-95% of doubts जो हैं इससे clear हो जाती हैं. क्लास में समझ में नहीं आ रहा होगा because I'm at a pace, I understand, but you go back and revise again and summarize, आपको समझ में आएगा. All technical concepts I ensure कि आप लिख रहे हो नोट्स में. Okay, so summarization, okay, is a way of processing to help you memorize. अच्छा, ये summary किसका करना है? So you have class notes, you have NCRTs, okay, you have textbooks, you also have the post-class notes, which is an enriched version of what I'm teaching you with some more facts. So my contention is, अगर आपके summary में ये सब कुछ होता, that's an ideal summary. Okay, where one pager which has class notes and post-class notes के additions, they also have NCRTs के facts, they also have books. Beautiful, that's wonderful. But that's a difficult target. अगर ये करने बैठोगे, geography will take 6-7 hours every day. Okay, so the smart is pick up only the class notes. इसको छोड़ दो. Forget this. Only the class notes. I repeat, not even the post-class notes. So whatever I am teaching right now in the class and the notes you get from me in the class is what I want summarized first. And this class notes work, summarization, should not take more than 1 hour. And ideally, I will want it to be over in 30 minutes, 45 minutes. इसके ऊपर जाएगा मतलब you are eating in some other work. फिर आप कोई और काम खराब कर रहे हो अपना. End of the day, आपके पास एक दिन में 7-8 घंटा ही है. Okay, 3-4 hours geography के लिए, another 3-4 hours GS के लिए. If geography goes for 6-7 hours, your GS is collapsed. If you do not summarize, जो 3 घंटा आपने पढ़ाई किया वो बेकार हो गया आपका. So you have to summarize, but okay, very strict time limits. It's something like, no, I have a world to teach you. अगर मैं पढ़ाने के शौक में आ जाऊं, geography is 1 year course. Okay, I must keep a boundary, right? कि नहीं मुझे खत्म करना है. 6 months, 6.5 months, I have to finish it. So I'm also careful and very aware of the time that you have with you. The same thing here. You cannot afford the luxury of trying to perfect your notes. वो कभी नहीं होने वाला. Perfection second round में आएगा. Improvement third round में आएगा. So your work is, if you ask me about what are your study tasks? Okay. Number 1 is be regular with the class. As far as possible, do the classes regularly. अगर आप रिकॉर्डिंग भी देख रहे हो, don't pile up recording. फिर आज के रिकॉर्डिंग आज देखो. Okay, recording is a very false sense of comfort होता है कि है मैं बाद में देख लूंगा. वो कभी नहीं होने वाला. अगर आज का मिस हो गया, you're only piling up. So class regularly. I will, because the class is live, so do the live class. अगर नहीं कर पा रहे हो, same day, okay, जितने भी रात में हो, finish off, okay, on daily basis recording. The second task, बिना left right देखे हुए, यही क्लास के जो नोट्स हैं, okay, you have to summarize. Don't open any book. ना NCERT खोलो, ना टेक्स्ट बुक्स खोलो, ना करंट अफेयर्स देखो, just the class notes. So this class notes in the class about 2.5 hours. The summarization, I said not more than 1 hour. And I want this class note summarized in not more than 1 page. Because when I put the limit of 1 page, your processing starts. अगर मैं पेज लिमिट नहीं डालूंगा ना, आप फैला के फिर लिखोगे 5 पेज में, तो फायदा ही नहीं हुआ ना. I want it in a summary form. I want it in a crisp form. So I'm forcing you कि सोचो, दोबारा सोचो. ठीक है, 1 पेज नहीं हुआ, ठीक है, 1.5 हो गया, बट धीरे धीरे उसको 1 के अंदर लाना पड़ेगा. Okay, धीरे धीरे bring it down to half a page if possible. वो होगा. With time you learn this technique of summarization. Then what happens is you keep on doing this. Then twice or thrice in a week, हर दिन नहीं, week, you will enrich the summary or the notes, okay, with NCERT, with select reading from textbooks. तो ये जो enrichment का काम है, ये अलग से नहीं किया जाएगा. तो जो whatever class notes you have, उसी के summary में ऐड करो. So what I ideally want is, this is one sheet of paper. ये एक पेपर का शीट है. The sheet of paper has page 1 and page 2. Your summary should be 1 page. मतलब एक साइड होना चाहिए, 2 साइड नहीं होना चाहिए. 1 side. So 1 side you make a summary. जो पीछे का पार्ट है, यहां करोगे enrichment. Or I do this. Do 2/3, 1/3. Okay. 2/3 write your summary. 1/3 enrichment. पीछे 2/3 summary, 1/3 enrichment. So your enrichment should not be a separate summary sheet. Enrichment क्या होगा? You're reading a book. Okay, I know this, I know this, I know this. Oh, this thing sir did not tell us. Okay, add this. I know this. Oh, this thing is very well drawn in the book. Copy that. Okay, ये fact sir ने बताया नहीं, हम इसको add कर लेंगे. Enrichment means enrichment. It's not an additional extra reading completely. In most cases, किताब से मैं पढ़ा रहा हूं. My source is no magic source. I have read the main core books and I've decided कि I'll focus on only one book which is just interesting. इसमें कुछ gaps होंगे, वो हम भर रहे हैं. मैं notes में जो gap होंगे, आप इससे भर लोगे. That's about it. So some of you struggling, so it's taking us 2-3 hours. Okay, the 2-3 hours ले रहा है. One reason could be आप ये सब कर रहे हो. Don't do that. या फिर your class attendance जो आपका process है, ये class का काम ठीक नहीं हो रहा आपका. You're not attentive in the class or you are not writing well in the class. एक और चीज, जब summary लिख रहे हो, don't open the videos again. Summaries वीडियो से नहीं किया जाता है. You will be trapped. वीडियो देखोगे, pause, jot down, अरे मिस हो गया, रिवाइंड करो, again jot down, फिर आगे बढ़ोगे, बफरिंग हो गया. Video study is a very pathetic study. 2 घंटा will take you 5 hours. So summary should be of the notes, not the class. वीडियो से नहीं करना. So that's one more mistake you probably are making. Okay. And summarization is not memorization. कि सर मैं पहले पढ़ता हूं, फिर समझता हूं, फिर याद करता हूं, फिर लिखता हूं. Why? My point is, notes रखो, एक एक लाइन पढ़ो, एक एक नोटिंग करो. Read 5 lines, note down 5 lines. Okay. Read 10 lines, summarize in 1 line. So it must happen parallelly. Okay. या फिर रीडिंग करते हुए सब जॉटिंग्स मार्जिन्स में मेरे को समरी साथ साथ. Summary writing is an art. That's the first step towards answer writing. Answer writing requires brevity, precision. It requires recall of whatever facts. So ये जो टेक्निक है ना कि सर I am doing notes, I am understanding, I am enriching, I am memorizing, then I am summarizing. Very nice, but इसमें तो आपको चला जाएगा, एक जन्म चला जाएगा, खत्म ही नहीं होगा. In this examination, you need a sense of progress also. कि काम बढ़ रहा है आपका. This is what I'm doing is have notes, summarize. While summarizing, understanding हो रहा है 100%. While summarizing, some amount of memorization happens. Okay. Then you go for enrichment. फिर आप क्या करोगे? एक दिन, once in 2 weeks, sit down and now conscious memorize. 2 पर्चा बन चुका, अब बैठ के रट्टा मारूंगा मैं बैठ के. So I'm flipping the process of how you're studying. I hope you got the point here. Some of you make one more mistake. Sir, आपका क्लास कर ले रहे हैं, then घर जाके और 2-3 किताब पढ़ रहे हैं. Why? Whatever you had to refer to, वो मैं बता रहा हूं already, right? It's like, if you are doing on yourself, so book 1, book 2, book 3, notes 1, notes 2, refer करो, combine them together, and then you make your notes. Self कर रहे हो. But यहां पर क्या कर रहे हो? In the class, what I'm doing is, okay, book 1, book 2, book 3, notes 1, notes 2, 3. This, your sir is doing it for you and giving you the notes which you are copying down. So I am doing the dirty work for you. फिर दोबारा ये काम क्यों कर रहे हो आप? I hope you get the logic here. Okay. So, when you start the preparation, because after jazbaat is more intense, emotions stronger, you feel like sir एकदम बढ़िया से पढ़ेंगे और एकदम मास्टर क्वालिफाई कर लेंगे. You start intention, you will burn out in 1 month time. वो नहीं, you can't sustain it. ये सब ideal assumptions हैं पढ़ाई के. सर मैं बैठ के ना 15 घंटा पढ़ के निकाल लूंगा. करो 2 दिन, थर्ड बीमार पड़ जाओगे. You need a sustainable progress. हर दिन 6-6 घंटा, 5-5 घंटे डालो. Every day some summary happening. Every day some memorization happening. And then the work accumulates. 1 महीने के बाद में, oh wow, I have done so much of work. Now chip the process slowly, gradually. And I'm sharing some of the summaries as sample to some of you. आप दिखा रहे हो मुझे. I said, no, you can share with me. I'll see it. Okay, initially, if you want me to give you some remark, I'll do that, but don't make it a regular thing. Okay, हर दिन submit कर रहे हो, फिर मैं नहीं देखूंगा. Okay, it's like I have taught you once, twice, thrice. अपने आप सीखो अब. Go figure out, go struggle, go summarize. Okay, सर मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, मैं क्या लिखूं? Okay, then तो you are the golden boy for me. हर साल एडमिशन लोगे आप कोचिंग में. Okay, इतना तो अक्ल लगाना पड़ेगा, right? ये 10 पेज को 1 पेज कैसे किया जाता है? And I'm showing you samples here. This is a sample there. You'll struggle a bit on this. And please don't get into answer writing right now. The new ones खासकर. ये सब जज्बात वाला बात है. You'll collapse. Sundays का टेस्ट होता है, 4-5 क्वेश्चन कर लेना, no problem there. It takes 50-60 minutes to internalize the class. I don't know what you mean internalize the class. चुपचाप summary लिखो. Internalize and assimilate and digestion करके sir, it become muscle memory not required. चुपचाप summary बनाओ. That's all. In fact, my strong extreme point is I don't care आपको समझ में आया कि नहीं आया. Summary लिखा कि नहीं बताओ मुझे. Okay, I want summary done daily basis. नहीं सर मैं पढ़ रहा था, समझ रहा था, याद कर रहा था और summary नहीं कर पाया. I said go to hell. I don't care आपको समझ में आया कि नहीं. The target is I want summary done. And I promise you, do summary properly, आपको समझ में आएगा. कोई speculation नहीं है कुलदीप. It's just that you have your own ideas, that's all. You have some December batch. क्या है मैं समझ नहीं पाया. Vaishnavi? Yes, so this topic then climatology. So maybe about another 1.5 months types. ठीक है, I hope I explain summary writing to all of you. Summary which I otherwise call as synopsis writing. This is your daily work. Any doubts on this, anybody? Chalo. Fine, then let's start off with our discussion, what we had yesterday. So we had discussed what are the models of Earth's interiors. Okay. We discussed what is the condition of Earth's interiors. Models of Earth's interiors, the most contemporary one, chemical layering. We have the mechanical layering based on rigidity, crust, mantle, core. एक अलग scheme है compared to lithosphere, asthenosphere, mesosphere and baryosphere. Okay, I hope no problem in this. ठीक है? And the numbers पता होना चाहिए. Lithosphere is first 100 kilometer, asthenosphere is another 300, 350, 400 kilometer. Then you have the mesosphere which is middle and inner mantle and the core. ठीक है all of you? Okay, I understand that. So lithosphere includes the upper part of upper mantle. The asthenosphere is lower part of the upper mantle. Asthenosphere is solid, but it is a kind of deformable solid. We don't have a good word for it, so a convenient word is that it is semi-molten. Okay, semi-molten as in, okay, it looks like it can flow, but it is solid, I repeat. When you apply pressure on it, जब आप force करोगे pressure, that is when it loses rigidity. Okay, think of balloon for example. You apply pressure, the balloon will lose rigidity. Okay, हटा लो, it will bounce back again. So think of asthenosphere, and one of you asked me, sir, why? Why cancer it? It is a property of olivine mineral. Okay, why is diamond hard? There's a property of the diamond crystal. Why are some metals liquid like mercury? It's a property of mercury as element. So बस अब याद करो इसको. Olivine makes this property possible. Yes.
Sir, when we talk about the pressure, what kind of pressure are they talking about?
The pressure of the layers, weight है ना?
तो उतना weight से atmosphere semi-molten में convert हो जाएगा?
नहीं, वो weight के साथ olivine है. It's not just a weight. Olivine का property, वहां पर कुछ और होता तो ऐसे नहीं होता. Olivine का property का weight है कि ऊपर का जो almost 200-300 किलोमीटर का depth of thickness of weight है. That's good enough. Oh, sorry, not 300. 100 किलोमीटर का depth thickness है. उतना weight काफी है for asthenosphere. That's the property that we have. ठीक है? No Vaishnavi. No, that will not be difficult. That'll be difficult for first check there. जो miss हो गया. Now move on with us. Semi-molten part because of pressure of olivine or presence of not radioactive. It is because of olivine. Olivine is what makes the asthenosphere semi-molten. Of course, heat तो है, but not heat alone. अगर heat alone होता, then this property would have been more in the inner mantle. Okay, inner mantle is more hotter. Inner mantle is facing more pressure. Then why is inner mantle not semi-molten? I hope you got the question. Point, Krishna. If the reason was only pressure, if the reason was only temperature, then inner mantle should have been more semi-molten, right? But upper mantle or inner mantle is far more denser, okay, and solid. Okay, the reason is olivine. Remember, olivine and whatever else olivine is experiencing. Okay, so you understand that aspect. Then we discussed. We mentioned. मैंने किया passing reference. Lithosphere is 4 point. Lithosphere is cold, Lithosphere is hard and brittle. Lithosphere is broken into segments called as plates, and the plates can move. These are the four fundamental pillars on which the tectonics theory is based on. The tectonic process of why the plates move and why we have volcanism, why we have earthquakes, सब कुछ का ये एक important basic understanding है. The lithospheric plates are pieces which can move, which can interact and so on. ठीक है? So I hope you understand this. And the other models, एक factual list है. What did Edward Swiss tell us? What did Arthur Holmes tell us? What does Daly tell us? And what does Van der Graaf tell us? ठीक है? Inner silicates, outer silicates, क्या thickness? Some is right, some is wrong. But the closest to our model is Van der Graaf's model. Depth-wise also fairly accurate है. Okay, by when, what type of minerals or metals dominate. तो आप याद करना है इसको. Okay. Conditions of interiors. I discussed the pressure aspects. I discussed the temperature aspects. And I discussed the state. कौन सा molten है, कौन सा semi-molten है, कौन सा solid है, which is fluid and moving. Okay. So pressure, very high pressure has go inside. But the time I hit the core, it's almost 3.5, 4 million atmospheres. Okay, there's a huge amount of pressure at the core. And if talking of temperature, I said temperature hot hai. The temperature is the residual heat of the nebula from which the planet is forming. But slowly, gradually, Earth is becoming colder. Okay, but abhi bhi kafi kuch heat trapped hai. Along with that heat, we also have lot of radioactive interactions. There are radioactive disintegrations happening. That also contributes to some amount of heat. The internal heat hai. But there is no pattern in general in terms of temperature. So, kuch areas wherever activity is going on, they are hotter. Some areas the activities are dead, it is colder. If I go inside, the outer core is hot, but the inner core is the hottest. So in depth wise कोई pattern ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. Although the book says initial layers में patterns हैं, but thereafter it is not there because this radioactive material is not uniformly distributed. Okay, the chemical reactions that happen are not uniformly found everywhere. Okay, that explains why we have. Now, state के लिए one important discussion was the concept of convection currents. The mantle is solid. Earth's interiors are largely solid, but parts of mantle can move. Parts of mantle can circulate, and those are called as convection cells. So we have some diagrams on these. Let me see if I have. Oh no, इसमें नहीं है. ठीक है. It's another diagram. Something is. No, not this. ठीक है. I think I have not shared that one. तुला करा देंगे फिर से. Some other reference में करा देंगे. ठीक है. So convection cells. We have drawn the diagram. There are layers like this. The convection cells can be shallow cells. The convection cells can be deeper and bigger cells. They can also come much deeper. Convection cells का मतलब ये है the magma is circulating, rising, moving out, sinking, coming back. It's rising, going out, sinking, coming back. So cells are circulation systems, the convection cells. But we also have some localized magma that rises in a certain pathway without circulation. वो सीधा rise करता है and comes out, and this is called as the mantle plume. And mantle plumes create some type of earthquakes, they create some type of volcanism. I've used a term called as hotspots. एक special type of volcanism है, that's because of these mantle plumes. And I have some examples. The Rican Lava Plateau, the Galapagos, the Reunion Island, and so on. ठीक है, all good? Hi Sahil. Okay, ठीक है. So that's about the state of the interiors. अब हम discuss कर रहे थे. Okay, we started off with the evidences of the interiors. The evidences of the interiors. How do we know about what's happening inside the earth? Okay, so we said there are certain direct sources. Okay, आप directly पढ़ लो from what we see in the mines. डायरेक्टली पढ़ लो फ्रॉम व्हाट वी हैव सीन इन द ऑयल वेल्स की ड्रिलिंग में. In fact, your NCERT mentions a project called as a deep sea drilling project. एक एक्सपेडिशन था यूएस का called as the ग्लोमार एक्सपेडिशन, GLOMAR. ये 50-60s में था. And this project, इसका पार्ट है called as deep sea drilling project. So there are some ships which are drilling inside the ocean crust and studying what the crust has. So this is direct study. Okay, you can study meteorites. Meteorites, those rocks of the space that hit the surface, and then you try to find out the composition of these rocks are like this. Earth also will have some amount of same rocks or minerals. Okay, some studies, mines, oil wells, and so on, but these are not reliable because they don't tell much about the deep earth. बहुत superficial पता है हम लोगों को. So the more reliable ones are, I said, there are density studies, there are gravity studies, there are magnetic studies, and I mentioned the seismic studies. We ignore this. Okay, जाने दो इसको. This is the more popular one. Okay, seismic, the earthquake wave studies. Okay, or the seismic evidences of Earth's interiors. यहां तक all fine, all of you? Does convection current form in astrosphere? Everywhere, कहीं भी possible हो सकता है. Shallow mantle, upper mantle, deeper mantle. Okay, they can be anywhere. And then the mantle. That's the important point. 1928 में there was this man called Arthur Holmes. He is the man who talked about the convection cells. He gave the concept of mantle convection cells. ये mantle नहीं है, and anywhere in the mantle, shallow mantle, intermediate mantle, deep mantle, whatever. ठीक है? Anybody else here? Fine. We start off with evidences. The evidences. Okay, and discussing the earthquake evidences. और द सीस्मिक, वेरी पॉपुलर क्वेश्चन, एंड ये जीएस में भी काम आएगा. इनफैक्ट जो भी पढ़ा अभी तक पढ़ाया है ना, एक्सेप्ट दैट वेंडरग्राट एंड आर्थरोम्स, एवरीथिंग एल्स इज जीएस अभी तक. आई हैव नॉट एंटर्ड द कोड ऑप्शनल येट. ओके, चलो ठीक है, पढ़ते हैं. सो व्हेन वी हैव अर्थक्वेक्स इज बेसिकली व्हाट? इट इज वाइब्रेशंस of the earth. Okay, so when you have vibrations, earthquakes are a mechanism of energy release. Okay, so when earth is shaking, कुछ energy release हो रहा है, and this energy release can be electromagnetic spectrum में. These can be radiations, gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, वो भी सब energy है. Okay, and they can be also what we call as mechanical energy. Earthquakes are vibrations. सब मैं आपको पहले concept समझा रहा हूं. Then I'll come towards how they tell us about interiors. Concepts में, I said, earthquakes are associated with energy release. The energy release can be electromagnetic spectrums. These type of energy, okay, they do not require any medium. Okay, they can pass air, water, solids, gases, vacuum. Okay, they can just pass. Whereas these energy, the mechanical energy है, this is associated with the particles vibrations. ये एनर्जी में पार्टिकल्स का कोई इश्यू है नहीं. There's some energy which is moving. It is not to do with any matter. It is not to do with any molecules, not particles. इस एनर्जी एक फॉर्म है जो मूव कर रहा है. ठीक है? Whereas these energy, the mechanical energy is associated with particles vibrating. अगर particles है मतलब this energy, okay, is closely associated with the nature of the medium through which it passes. Through which it passes. ठीक है? The mechanical energy is associated with vibration of the particles. Because it is associated with vibration particles, therefore, okay, those are closely associated with the nature of the medium through which it passes. ठीक है? Imagine करो, okay, I'm in a room. The room has, okay, maybe a steel container. The room has some wooden furniture. The room has some glass, like a flower vase. The room has lot of material. How do I know the room has what? One method is I can see it. Light hits, reflects back, और मुझे दिखता है कि अच्छा ये ग्लास का है, ये वुडन है, ये प्लास्टिक का है, दिखाई दे रहा है. Or I switch off the lights, close my eyes, and I am walking in the room. I can guess what it is based on it falling and the sound it creates, correct? Glass एक टाइप का टूटेगा, मुझे पता है ये ग्लास है. When a wooden thing falls down, the third, अच्छा ये wood का है. When an iron rod falls down, अच्छा ये ऐसा आवाज है, तो ये iron rod होगा. So every material has a signature sound. Every material has some typical sound which is representing what it is made up of. ठीक है? So वो साउंड सुन के मैं बता रहा हूं कि अच्छा ये ग्लास टूट गया, ये वुडन स्टैंड गिर गया, या दिस वाज आयरन रॉड व्हिच फेल डाउन. आई नो दैट without actually seeing it. The same logic here. I have Earth's interiors. I have Earth's interiors. Interior से कुछ earthquake हुआ, यहां पे कुछ earthquake हुआ, and the energy is going out. While the energy goes out, okay, this is one type of rocks X. This is another type of rock called as Y. Another type of rock called as Z. When energy is moving, I study the behavior कि X में जब पास कर रहा था इसका क्या behavior है. Okay, is it breaking like glass? और ये ग्लास से बना होगा. Is it falling like iron rod का sound? तो iron rod होगा. Is it falling like or hitting like a wooden rod or wooden furniture? तो ये wood का बना होगा. So without seeing it actually, I am studying some other property. I hope you got the point here. So I am associating. So the mechanical waves, when they pass through the medium, based on the medium's characteristics. लिख लो, head down. This is the main concept. Put a star mark. ये concept क्या है? Mechanical waves. Mechanical waves. Why I'm talking about particles? Matter होना चाहिए. Mechanical waves. Head down. Mechanical waves. When they pass through some medium. Mechanical waves, when they pass through some medium, based on the medium's characteristics, वो medium का nature क्या है? Based on the medium's characteristics, the waves have signature. The waves have signature behavior. In terms of signature behavior, in terms of, okay, their velocity, in terms of the path taken, in terms of weather reflection, okay, the waves have signature properties in terms of the velocity, in terms of the path taken, and in terms of reflection or some other deviations. Next sentence. Studying the behavior of the waves and how they change. Studying the behavior of the waves and how they change. And how they change. Okay. The nature of the medium. The nature of the medium can be inferred. The nature of the medium can be inferred. This is the core principle of the seismic evidence. Again, analogy में, think of a child specialist, a pediatric specialist. Okay. The child can only cry, right? और क्या हो सकता है? The child cannot tell what is ailing him, how the pain is. वो कुछ पता नहीं. They can only cry. Pediatricians can interpret the cry. कितने बार रोता है? Okay. कितने frequency में रोता है? Okay. How sharp the cry is. When you put the hand here or there, what is the response? So, looking or hearing the sound of the baby's cry and what type of breathing may be, etc., they can tell what the problem is. This is a skill that you are developing. Okay. So, वैसे ही earthquake waves में ऐसे ही होता है. This is an earthquake wave. This is a medium called as X. यहाँ पर earthquake waves say starts behaving like this. It enters a medium called as Y. The wave behaves like this. It enters a medium called as Z. Okay, the waves behaves like this. And I have mechanisms to know the behavior. और मुझे पता है जहां पर ऐसा behavior होगा, the X is wood. जहां पर ऐसा behavior होगा, Y has to be iron. जहां पर ऐसा behavior होगा, ये शायद कोई गैस है. So the behavior of the waves are signature behaviors. And from that I can know what type of material the earth's interior is made up of. अब ये क्वेश्चन बनता है कि सर ये कैसे जानते हैं? There are methods of detecting that. Some instruments, some calculations they do, they find out that. हमें बस जानना है, okay, some correlationships. So most of these are correlationships. If behave like this, this is iron rich layer. If the wave behaves like this, this is an olivine rich rock. If the wave behaves like this is a molten type of rock and so on. Is it okay all of you here? Okay. So we are studying. So when I say a study of a seismic waves, I am studying what? I am studying the mechanical waves. We are studying the energy associated with vibrating particles. We are studying the behavior of the mechanical waves, and this behavior is correlated with the nature of the medium through which they pass. We are studying earthquake waves. We are studying mechanical earthquake. ये mechanical बहुत important है. Mechanical का मतलब है इसमें कुछ particle vibrate हो रहा है. I need to know the vibrations. किस type का vibration है, कितने speed vibration हो रहा है, किस direction में vibration हो रहा है. I must study the vibrating particles and I study the behavior of the particles, and from here we can interpret, we can associate the nature of the medium through which they pass. We correlate with the nature of the medium through which they pass. Is it okay, all of you? बताओ, any questions here? Okay, so we're studying the nature of the earthquake waves, the types and the nature of the earthquake waves. The types and the nature of the earthquake waves. Broadly we say the earthquake waves are two types. They are body waves and they are surface waves. And then when I say types and nature, I am discussing mechanical waves only. I am ignoring the electromagnetic waves because वो मेरे काम का है नहीं अभी यहाँ पर. मुझे मीडियम जानना है, राइट? एंड इफ द इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक वेव्स डोंट नीड एनी मीडियम, तो फिर दे कैन टेल अस समथिंग अबाउट द इंटीरियर्स, छोड़ दो उसको पहले. So I'm studying the mechanical waves, waves which are associated with the vibration of particles. There are body waves and there are surface waves. Body waves क्या होते हैं? These waves, okay, they originate from within the Earth's interiors and they pass through the interiors. They originate from within the interiors and they pass through the interiors. So अगर ये अर्थ है, the earthquake happens somewhere inside and the wave is passing through the interiors. The wave is passing through the interiors. We call this as the body waves. और जो surface waves हैं, these are the origin can be within or on the surface. But the waves, they pass on the surface. The origin can be within. Say, यहाँ से शुरू हुआ, the wave has come here and now it is moving on the surface. या फिर wave began here and it is moving on the surface. The origin can be within or on the surface. Within the interiors or on the surface, but they're passing through the surface. ठीक है? So for understanding Earth's interiors, I want to know body waves more because मुझे अंदर जानना है, right? बाहर का तो फिर भी I can understand. I need to know what's inside the Earth. Okay, so add a point here that the seismic evidences of Earth's interiors are based on the study of body waves. Based on study of body waves primarily. All good, all of you? Online, is it okay, all of you? What's the concept? What is the whole philosophy? And what are we trying to understand from what? All good? Chalo, theek hai. The next. So we have body waves. You understand body waves? We have surface waves. Ab body waves jo hai, again there are two types. We have, okay, longitudinal waves and we have transverse waves. Okay. In this wave, the particles vibrate along the axis of energy propagation. In the longitudinal wave, the particles vibrate along the axis of energy propagation. Along the axis of energy propagation. मतलब क्या है? If the energy is moving like this, the particles are vibrating like this. इसी axis में ऐसे. The particles are vibrating like this. Okay? So it's like if my hand represents the energy का direction, ऐसे जा रहा है, the vibration of particles is like this along the axis. Can you all imagine here? Okay, the particles come together, they move away. They come together, they move away. This is compression and rarefaction. Compression and rarefaction. The particles are vibrating along the axis of the energy propagation. Okay, we also call this wave as primary waves, short way called as the P waves. They're also called as primary waves, They're also called as P waves. ये concepts आपको जरूरत नहीं है for the optional, but prelims में पूछता है GS में. The property of P waves, S waves, क्या velocity है, क्या type है, दो तीन पूछा हुआ क्वेश्चन है. So they not ask you in optional, but you must know this. And transverse waves, here the particles are vibrating perpendicular to the axis of energy propagation. Transverse का मतलब होता है आड़े में. Transverse at 90 degrees. The particles are vibrating perpendicular to the axis of energy propagation. So if the energy is moving like this, okay, the particles are vibrating ऊपर नीचे ऐसे. In the P waves, the particles are along the axis. In this wave, the particles are either perpendicular vertical ऐसे या फिर perpendicular across ऐसे. Can you imagine here? So if I draw this diagram, okay, if this is the direction of energy, okay, the particles can vibrate up and down like this, or they can vibrate side by side like this. ठीक है? In this case, the particles are vibrating along the axis, and this is up and down, or this is side by side. So this angle is 90 degrees. This angle is 90 degrees. The particles vibrate perpendicular to the direction of the energy propagation. Okay, and these waves are also called as secondary waves. Secondary waves, short में हम उसको बोलते हैं S waves. So we have P waves and we have S waves. Both are two types of body waves. There are P waves and there are S waves. यहीं पर ही लिखो इसी के साथ. P waves, S waves. Okay. P waves are faster. P waves can move through any medium. Solid, liquid, gases. P waves are faster. P waves can move through any medium. Their velocity is more in more dense medium, and velocity is more in also in more rigid medium. P waves are faster. P waves can pass through any medium. The velocity is more when the density is more. If I compare, okay, say wood and iron rod, more dense कौन सा है? Iron rod. So they will move faster through the iron rod, and they will move faster when the medium has more rigidity. Okay, say I have water liquid and I have a solid some other body. Which is more rigid? The solid. Okay. Liquid medium is water. The body will move faster in the solid and not in the liquid. So matter of here. तो gases में और slow होगा. Okay. Liquid में a bit more faster होगा. Solid में fastest होगा. The velocity depends on the density. It also depends on the rigidity or the state of the matter. But the energy can pass through liquids, solids, and also gases. The example of P waves is sound waves. Sound can pass through air, sound can pass through water, sound can pass through solids also. Sound moves fastest in solids. Sound is slower in the air. Now सिर्फ gas होगा. So example of P waves is sound. What is after axis? बेटा ये कौन सा वाला पॉइंट था? I think ये बहुत पीछे रह गया आपका. ये वाला Satyam, which one? The longitudinal or the transverse one? Secondary. Okay, the particles vibrate perpendicular to the axis of energy propagation. Axis of energy movement. Axis of energy propagation. एक तो बेटा आप बोर्ड देख के मत लिखो, ठीक है? बोर्ड में लिखता हूं ताकि you have some pace to maintain. You must write listening to me. Okay. So P waves के property समझ में आ गया all of you here? P waves are faster. P waves can pass to any medium. P waves are faster in medium which is denser. It's faster in medium which is rigid. They are fastest in the solid and they are slowest in the gases. S waves. S waves. P waves से relatively slower है. S waves can pass through only rigid mediums. मतलब they can pass through only solids. They cannot pass through gases or liquid medium. They can pass through only solids. They cannot pass through liquids or gases. So can the S wave pass through outer core? No. Outer core क्या है? Liquid medium है. So all of you here? So when the rigidity becomes less or it is lost, S waves can't pass. ठीक है? And S waves again, they have a higher velocity in a higher density. They have high velocity in mediums which have high density. So solid may be, okay, wood भी solid है, iron भी solid है. Okay, the velocity in the wood is less than the velocity in the iron. ठीक है, those only solids, and in solids also they move faster when the rigidity is more or the density is more. कभी कभी मिस हो जाता है, तब बोर्ड देखना है, बट हैंडराइटिंग और कोई बात नहीं मनमोहन, अगर मैं हैंडराइटिंग समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो आप नॉर्मल इंसान हो, अगर समझ में आ रहा है तब मुझे प्रॉब्लम है. ठीक है मनमोहन? नो मैन इज परफेक्ट. मेरा इम्परफेक्शन बस इतना है, बाकी मैं एकदम संत आदमी हूं. ठीक है? अगर ये भी ठीक हो जाता तो पता नहीं मेरा अहंकार क्या हो जाता. तो भगवान ने हैज केप्ट मी ग्राउंडेड दैट वेज. सत्यम, आपका मैं सुनता रहता हूं सजेशंस, बट मैं नहीं लूंगा. ओके, इसको ऐसे ही करो. Anybody else? Yeah.
As we go down, so density increases while the hardness decreases. तो फिर P wave will move faster in lower layers or upper.
तो उसमें फिर आपको इक्वेशन चाहिए. इक्वेशन में वेरिएबल x is a function of y and z. तो whether y dominates more or this dominates more, मुझे इक्वेशन चाहिए ना फिर मुझे. ठीक है? So I cannot say in general कि यहां पक्का फास्ट होगा. वो कॉम्बिनेशन है, राइट? It's like my happiness depends on maybe my health and also my marks. इसका फंक्शन है. सर एक टाइम ऐसा है, हेल्थ खराब हो गया, मार्क्स बढ़िया था और मैं प्रीलिम्स निकल गया. ठीक है? तो यहां पर क्या होगा? ऐसे द मार्क्स मैटर मोर देन द हेल्थ. ठीक है? और मैं क्वालिफाई कर गया, ओके, और मैं मर गया. ठीक है? बैड एग्जाम्पल, बट ठीक है, समझ में आ गया, राइट? ओके, so good question. As I go inside, okay, the property of the matter changes in terms of density and rigidity. कौन सा कहां मैटर करेगा, you and I can't guess. हम बस लिख लेते हैं, अच्छा ये मिला तो यही मीनिंग है उसका. India's economic policies depends on geopolitics and also domestic issues. कब कौन सा डोमिनेट करेगा, यू कैन गेस दैट, राइट? ठीक है? सो दैट्स द क्वेश्चन इज वैलिड. ओके, इन सम प्लेसेस द डेंसिटी इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट, इन सम प्लेसेस द रिजिडिटी इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. जैसे इफ यू कंपेयर एस्ट्रोनॉस्फेयर एंड लिथोस्फेयर, Which is more rigid? Astronosphere is more rigid or lithos more rigid? Lithos more rigid. समझ में आ रहा है? Which is more denser? Astronosphere or lithosphere? तब बताओ वेव फास्ट होगा कि स्लो एस्ट्रोनॉस्फेयर में? You cannot say. What you will do is some scientists have told you, हम बस को याद कर लेते हैं कि इस लेयर में density matters more, इस लेयर में the rigidity matters more. That's all, we move on. ठीक है? But the doubt is a valid doubt. Okay, the S waves, okay, they cannot move through liquids or gases. They can move through only solids, and in solids also the velocity depends on, okay, the density of that medium. All done? Acha. That's about the body waves quickly. Okay. Now, ये जो surface waves हैं, I don't need them, but for sense of completion, surface waves में there are two type of waves, and both are types of transverse waves. ये भी transverse wave है, ये भी transverse wave है. One is called as L wave, okay, or love wave. One is called as R wave, or it is Rayleigh waves, named after the people who discovered it. Both are transverse waves. One type of transverse waves. Okay. L waves, love waves, and R waves, Rayleigh waves. The love waves, the particles vibrate perpendicular on the horizontal plane. The particles vibrate perpendicular on the horizontal plane. What this means? If this is the direction of the energy propagation, okay, the particles are vibrating like this. The particles vibrate like this. Okay. In the body waves, the particles vibrate like this. This is on the same plane. ये जा रहा है ऐसे, particles side by side हो रहा है, vibrating side by side, and this is vibrating up and down. So this is transverse waves, but these are body waves. ये transverse waves हैं, these are the love waves. The particles vibrating on the horizontal plane, not vertical. These are the surface waves called as love waves. लिख लिया आपने? All done? And the R waves are rotational waves. This is a rotational vibration rather. R for Rayleigh, R for rotation. याद रहेगा आपको? They are rotational. So इसमें particles ऐसे नहीं है. Particles are like this orbital path. ऐसे घूम रहा होता है. Okay, so it's a vibration of energy like this. The particles are turning like this. They're rotating, and energy is moving like this. Okay, so it's not a displacement. Okay, it's actually rotational movements of the particles. All done? And of the two, okay, the love waves are more dangerous. वो नहीं था. रोटेशन में ना, यू कम बैक टू द पर्सन यू लव अगेन, तो आपको शायद ना इज्जत बच जाता है. इसमें तो बर्बाद है, चला गया, साइड में चला गया. ओके, ठीक है. द लव वेव्स आर मोर डेंजरस, दे कॉज मोर डैमेज. ओके, दे कॉज मोर ब्रेकेज ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर्स. ये भी डैमेजिंग है, बट दिस इज द मोर डिवास्टेटिंग वन. That's all. You don't need more than this. So, three things I have taught you. One is, ये concept क्या है of the seismic waves? Why are seismic waves are important evidences of interiors? Essentially, the concept is the seismic waves are some type of mechanical waves, and how they behave depends on the medium through which they pass. And if I know the behavior, I can anticipate what the medium is. Take all of you. That's the main concept. The second thing I taught you was what are the types of waves, and third is what are the properties of the waves. Hamara concern is mainly on the body waves. Okay, how they tell us about the Earth's interiors. All good? Do you want to revise once, ek baar? See through your notes once, please. All of you. Read through once, maybe underline some words, do some jottings. None of these concepts taught till now आपको पूछेगा एग्जामिनेशन में, बट इसके बेसिस पे I'll build the next concept. हाँ बताओ.
सर जो सिस्टम में आपने बताया था उसमें सर डिफरेंट फेजेस से वो पास कर रहा है.
Different phase, different medium से.
डिफरेंट मीडियम सॉलिड लिक्विड लिक्विड तो सर लास्ट में वो लिक्विड में चेंज हो जा रहा है. मतलब लिक्विड फेज में वो वेव चेंज हो जा रहा है तो
वेव चेंज नहीं होगा.
मतलब उसका
वेव का प्रॉपर्टीज चेंज होगा.
चेंज हो रहा है तो सर लिक्विड मीडियम के बाद हमको वेव मिल रहा है तो सर वो पता लग रहा है कि लिक्विड मीडियम, लेकिन उसके पहले सर सॉलिड मीडियम में पहले चेंज हो जा रहा है तो फिर वो कैसे पता लगेगा?
वो कैसे पता चलता है सर, उसके इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं, वो हम नहीं घुसेंगे उसमें. मुझे पता है कि भाई जुपिटर के पास सैटर्न है, कैसे वो पर छोड़ दो. आई एम स्टडिंग जुपिटर का प्रॉपर्टी क्या है, सैटर्न का प्रॉपर्टी क्या है, आई एम स्टडिंग नेपच्यून का प्रॉपर्टी क्या है. सर कैसे जानते हो नेपच्यून है, उसको पर छोड़ दो. दैट पार्ट इज बियॉन्ड आवर ज्योग्राफी स्कोप. वो हार्ड कोर जियोफिजिक्स है. फिर इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं, सम पैरामीटर्स हैं, दे नो दैट. डायग्राम ऑफ बॉडी एंड लव वेव्स. मैं समझा नहीं, क्या डाउट है? व्हाट्स द डाउट? एग्जाम्पल ऑफ एन एस वेव. एस वेव्स के एग्जाम्पल है एनी वाइब्रेशन ऑफ अ स्ट्रिंग, गिटार का स्ट्रिंग. यू होल्ड द से वॉल फिक्स करो और यहां से ऐसे प्लग करो, the string or the rope will move like this. You tie the rope to the wall and hold it tight and you vibrate it. The rope will look like moving like a vibration sine curve. Okay, so example of S waves are those. You want to see the diagram? Acha, ये वाला diagram. You can draw that. हाँ.
ये वेव्स मीडियम चेंज होने पर इसकी डेंसिटी चेंज हो रही है तो ये बैंड नहीं होगी वेव्स.
होंगी, वो नेक्स्ट पढ़ाई करेंगे. यस, आई जस्ट गिव द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द वेव्स. अब वो कैसे क्या कर रहे हैं, विल टॉक अबाउट इट. वो बेंड इसलिए हो रहा है बिकॉज स्पीड चेंज हो रहा है. ठीक है, विल कम टू दैट. आई कैन मूव ऑन, ऑल ऑफ यू ऑल गुड हियर? अच्छा, सो studying how the waves behave and inferring the interiors of the earth. Studying how the waves behave and inferring the interiors of the earth. This is where your question answer lies. And weaving and inferring how, inferring the interiors of the earth. So let's go one by one, step by step. Number one. Number one is, let's assume the earthquake is very near the surface of the earth. Point likho. Number one. Let's assume the earthquake is very near the surface of the earth. Next sentence, as the energy passes from the earthquake focus, as the energy passes from the earthquake focus through the body of the earth, passes from the focus to the body of the earth, the following are the observations and the inferences. It passes from the focus through the earth's body. The following are the observations and the inferences. हम कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? This was the earth. Earthquake कहीं भी हो सकता है. For convenience sake, I'm assuming कि earthquake कहीं यहां पर हुआ. यहां से होकर energy is moving on the surface. यहां से होकर energy moving along the body, ऐसे move कर रहा है. And I'm studying how the waves are behaving and then concluding from the waves behavior. Okay, so I'm assuming the earthquake is at the surface from this focus. जहां earthquake शुरू होता है उसको बोलते हैं focus बोलते हैं. From the focus, the energy starts getting transmitted, is passing through the body of the earth, and as I study the behavior change, I infer about the earth's interiors. Next point. Near the surface and the upper layers, both P and S waves are slow. Both P and S waves are slow. I didn't do much. I just drew a circle here. I said this is the focus of the earthquake. And यहाँ से the waves are passing. The waves pass through the body, okay, and the surface. So from the focus, as the energy passes the body, I'm inferring what the medium is. That's all. Okay, I said number one, let's assume the earthquake is at the surface of the earth. Then I said from the earthquake focus, मतलब जहां से शुरू हुआ energy, from the focus, the energy starts propagating through the earth's interiors. And as the energy moves through the body, we study the observations and infer the interiors. लिख लो इसको. As the energy moves through the body, we study the behavior of the waves and infer the interiors of the earth. Online, all good? Snehal, Deepa, Priya, Satyam, all good? लिख लिया? Aman, yes? ठीक है. The first point I said was that in the upper layers, in the initial upper layers में, okay, both the P and S waves are slow. Continue. The velocity of the P waves, देखो most books में ना they describe P wave का क्या value है. S wave का भी value है, but we ignore it. Okay, we don't want that detailing required. So the P waves का velocity में the whole discussion can be written down. So you write down here the P waves velocity, okay, is as low as 3 kilometers per second. Is as low as 3 kilometers per second and increases to about 5 to 6 kilometers per second. And increases to about 5 to 6 kilometers per second. These velocities correspond to granitic rocks of the continent. These velocities correspond to the granitic rocks of the continent. ठीक है all of you? हमेशा the waves are studied as pair. P and S waves like pair है. और ये pair में the P moves faster. ठीक है, तो पैर में डोंट से कि बोथ मूविंग टुगेदर, ऐसा नहीं है. आई एम स्टडिंग टू सेट्स. जैसे थंडर हुआ, द सेट इज साउंड एंड द लाइट, बट द फैक्ट इज आई सी लाइट फर्स्ट, आई हियर द थंडर लेटर. बट एक सेट है ना कि एक थंडर में यू कैन सी लाइट एंड साउंड, दोनों साथ चल रहा है. ओके, तो वैसे ही सोचो आप. सो P and S waves are studies as sets of waves. और ये sets में I am studying the how the P is changing. The P initially is 3 km per second. It increases to 5 and 6. और ये जो range of velocity है, this is corresponding with the granitic layers of the continent's crust. Within bracket mention. Okay, this set of P and S waves. This set of P and S waves are called as PGSG waves. G for granite. They're called as PG and SG waves. Yeah, G is for granite. So now I know the uppermost layers are granitic layers. Right, next. Inside the continents, at around 30 kilometers depth, inside the continents at around 30 kilometers depth, the velocities of P and S waves, increase sharply. हम क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? This is the continents here. The P waves are moving, the S waves are moving. Slow waves बढ़ते हैं, they increase, they become more, but अभी भी net slow ही है. And this is linked to the granitic layers. Somewhere at around 30 kilometers में, okay, there is sudden change of the speed. And this is the Conrad's discontinuity. With upper layers are less dense felsic rocks and the lower layers are relatively more dense, relatively more mafic rocks. याद आ रहा है आपको ये वाला? Head down. This depth corresponds to the Conrad's discontinuity. CONRAD. Conrad's discontinuity. That separates the upper felsic layers. From the lower, relatively more mafic and denser layers. ठीक है? Next, the P and S waves consistently become faster. So क्या मतलब? अगर continuously बढ़ ही रहा है velocity, तो क्या मतलब होगा इसका? The densities are increasing. They become faster, implying a consistent increase in the density of the rocks. Implying the consistent increase in the density of the rocks. Next, at around 100 kilometers depth, the P waves are very fast at around 7.8 kilometers per second. Very fast at around 7.8 kilometers per second. And thereafter, there is a sudden drop in velocity. To about 7.3 to 7.5 kilometers per second, to about 7.3 or 7.5 kilometers per second. This same discussion, next paragraph. This corresponds to the lithosphere margin. And the drop in velocity is because of, this corresponds to the lithosphere margin, and the drop in velocity corresponds to the asthenosphere layer. The drop in velocity corresponds to the asthenosphere layer, which is dense but less rigid. Which is dense but it is less rigid. Is it okay all of you here? इसमें कुछ ना, there's no rocket science here. हम उल्टा काम करें, हमें पता already है layering क्या है. So I'm mapping the layerings with the velocity now. And you must know four values, that's all. So initially the waves are slow, they're picking up speed. Okay. The velocity corresponds to the granitic layers. At some depth they become a bit more faster. We have called that as the Conrad layer. Then again it goes on increasing as in high densities. Suddenly एक जगह ऐसा पहुंचता है, the P waves are pretty high, 7.8, 7.9 km per second. वहां से sudden drop in velocity. The drop हुआ because of the asthenosphere is the semi-molten layer. Let's put that down. In comparison with the velocities in the mantle, the P and S waves are slowest in the asthenosphere. The P and S waves are slowest in the asthenosphere. अगर हम कंपेयर करें, okay, upper mantle, middle mantle, lower mantle, okay, these dense rocks, okay, the velocities in general are high, but ये layers में the asthenosphere has the least velocity because it is semi-molten. Now, the asthenosphere therefore is also called as LVZ, low velocity zone. Is also called as LVZ, low velocity zone. ठीक है? Next point. Okay. The velocities consistently increase thereafter. Reaching about 8 or 9 kilometers per second for the P waves. Reaching about 8 to 9 kilometers per second for the P waves. इसका मतलब क्या है? Mantle, as they go inside, it becomes more and more dense. Okay. यहाँ पर अब rigidity का रोल नहीं है. We'll talk only in terms of the density. Okay. So the inner mantle with the highest speeds, is therefore called as the high velocity zone, HVZ. It's called as the high velocity zone or the HVZ. So mantle में asthenosphere is the LVZ and the inner mantle is the HVZ. All done, all of you here? Now, next point. The general trend reaching about, I said, about 8 kilometers per second, touching about 9 kilometers per second. The inner mantle, the velocities are the highest if I compare with the entire mantle. And therefore, it's called as the high velocity zone for the inner mantle. ठीक है? Kiran, is it okay? Okay. Now see, क्या लिखा आपने? The general trend, write down please, this is an important point. The general trend of increasing density of the interiors with depth. The general trend of increasing density, okay, with depth. Depth is responsible for the P and the S waves, becoming progressively faster in general, and also the P and the S waves bending outwards, and also the P and S waves bending outwards. It's a bit of physics, but let's see if you understand this. Okay, don't write everything down. Listen to this. This is air. This is water. This is the ray of light, the normal. Okay, when ray of light or light moves from air towards water, the light does not go straight, the light bends what? Towards normal. ये अंदर की तरफ, ये होना चाहिए डायरेक्शन, ये नॉर्मल है, it'll bend towards normal. वही है ना, जो छोड़ा था स्कूल में वो सारा वापस आएगा. Okay, this is what's called as refraction. Refraction is the bending of the waves, or bending of light when the change of medium. Okay, so this is the light in air, light in water. Okay, medium change हुआ तो bend हो गया. Okay, ये bending क्यों हुआ? Because light is faster in air than in water. Water में slow करता है. Okay, to maintain the speed of light, it will take a shorter path. अगर ये स्ट्रेट जाता, ये A है, ये B है, बिकॉज वाटर में स्लो हो गया. ठीक है, अगर ये स्ट्रेट जाएगा तो दिस इज स्लो डाउन द लाइट. सो बिकॉज इट्स स्लो, इट टेक्स अ शॉर्टर पाथ. तो यहां से यहां पर, देन बैक अगेन, द स्पीड इज मेंटेन्ड. इफ आई एट अ वेरी क्रूड लेवल, आप इतना याद रखो. So what happens? Why does light bend? It bends because air has less density. Water in comparison has more density. And light का property है, less density में it'll go faster. And in the more density it'll slow down. ये light का property है. It's like I'm running in the crowd. जब लोग नहीं है, I run very fast. और जब ज्यादा लोग हैं, more density, I'll become slow. अच्छा, in case of P and the S waves, इसका कुछ और property है. I have layer 1, which is less dense. I have layer 2, which is more dense. Okay. Now this is light. This is the mechanical waves. Mechanical waves का property है, when density increases, the velocity will increase. इसमें उल्टा चल रहा है. लाइट में क्या हो रहा है? When density increases, the velocity is decreasing. Is it okay, all of you? This is a sign, rho is sign for density. Okay. So, in this case, because the speed becomes more here, okay, ये vertical, तो यहां पे क्या होगा? The wave will not bend inwards, the wave will bend outwards. It should have gone straight. It should have gone straight like this, but it takes a longer path. Is it okay? ये सारा आपको जरूरत नहीं है. What I basically want to tell you is the velocity changes with density. In mechanical waves, when the density is more, the velocity is more, because of which the waves will not take a straight path. So I have a layer 1, a layer 2, a layer 3. यहाँ शुरू हुआ. It comes here, bend outwards, bend outwards. Can you all imagine here? तो waves straight नहीं जा रहा है, ये ऐसे बाहर की तरफ घूम रहा है. Okay, so this is one of the behaviors. The waves will not go straight. The waves will bend outwards. The wave will bend outwards. And of course, इसमें बहुत variations हैं. But then you come here, यहाँ से it's moving from more dense towards less dense. So वो सब हम छोड़ देंगे, variations, the details. I want to explain in general that the waves are moving in such a ways where the waves not go straight. The waves are progressively bending outwards like this. And इसका मतलब है the layers are becoming more and more dense as I go inside. ठीक है, all of you done here? Okay, तो दोबारा sentence पढ़ो आप, all of you. ऐसे in general, the general trend is, okay, that the interiors of Earth become progressively more dense. And because they become more dense, this is reflected in two ways. One is the velocity keeps on increasing. That's one. And second aspect is the waves also progressively bend outwards. All good? All good, all of you? ठीक है? I'll explain. ये कैसे आप लिखोगे, एग्जामिनेशन बता देंगे आपको. ये सारा कुछ एक टेबल में आ जाएगा. Okay, the behavior of the S and P waves are as shown below. खत्म. Small diagram, you're over. Okay, ये सब detailing for you to understand. That's all. I'm putting a pattern to understanding. We move on. So now watch what's happening. So this is the Earth's interiors with its central core. Okay, we have the P waves. Okay. Earth's interiors with the core, and we have the S waves. They go inside, they become fast and bend outwards. They become fast, they bend fast, and they go outwards. They increase in speed and they bend outwards. Increase in speed, they bend outwards. They bend outwards. They bend outwards. Then what happens? Any other ray coming here, wave coming here, because the outer core liquid है, इसके बाद आगे जा ही नहीं पाएगा. So here the S waves will disappear. कोई बाहर ही नहीं आ पा रहा. They come here, hit, they disappear. They come here, they hit, they disappear. So एक ऐसा point है, they become tangent here and they come out. इसके beyond S can't travel anymore. So there is no S wave here, no S wave here, no S wave here. We call this region as the S shadow zone. This is the S shadow zone. Because the S waves, they cannot pass through, okay, the fluid medium of the outer core. ठीक है? So give a subheading. Listing a subheading डालो. Okay. The path of P and S waves. Subheading is the path of P and S waves. In this number 1, the S wave is as shown alongside or above, जो भी है. The S waves are as shown alongside या above diagram. The S waves cannot cross the fluid outer core. The S waves are as shown alongside या above जो भी आपने diagram बनाया. The S waves can't cross the fluid outer core, and therefore there is a distinct S shadow zone. There is a distinct S shadow zone. The maximum angle up to which S waves appear, the maximum angle up to which S waves appear is 105 degrees. The maximum angle up to which S waves appear is 103 or 105 degrees. ये vary करता है. Some books 103 लिखेंगे, some books है 105. Okay. ये angle का मतलब क्या है? Essentially, in this diagram, if I draw a straight line here to the center, और ये जहां इमर्ज हो रहा है, यहां से अगर मैं सेंटर ऐसे ज्वाइन कर दूं, like this, okay, so this is where the waves come out, okay, तो यहां पर इसके beyond S दिख नहीं रहा है. This is the maximum up to which I can see S waves. I can see S waves here, ये सब में ऐसे दिख रहा है. S coming here, S coming here, ये सब निकल जा रहा है. I can see S all around. So maximum S कहां दिखेगा? यहां तक दिखेगा. So this point on the surface is essentially, if I draw this diagram, this angle is 105 degrees. Okay? What does the angle mean? अब books में यहां लिख देता है 105. इसका मतलब क्या है? So if I draw from here to center, the angle subtends with the diameter here. This is 105 degrees, the maximum. And beyond this 105 degrees, ये पूरा S shadow zone. And using geometry, for this 105 degrees, okay, I'll find out कि जहां tangent हुआ है, okay, this is 2900 kilometers. This is pure say mathematical geometry है. I know this radius, I know this radius. मुझे ये angle पता है कितना है, ये कहां tangent हो रहा होगा. Calculations में I know this is equal to 2900 kilometers from the Earth's surface. Down. This angle corresponds to a depth of 2900 kilometers. A depth of 2900 kilometers. Beyond which lies the inner core. Beyond which lies the inner core. ठीक है? So this angle 105 represents a depth of 2900, जहां पर the S waves becomes tangent. How do you know this? This is trigonometry, nothing else. मुझे ये depth पता है, ये depth पता है. So mechanisms they know the angle here, they calculate कि इसका कितना होगा depth. Beyond this is the inner core. All good here? This is the pathway of the S waves. Now come towards the P waves. Ankit, ठीक है? Any doubts, Ankit? ठीक है. Now P waves में a bit of difference, because P waves can pass through the fluid core. So bend outwards, becomes tangent, bends outwards. So ये वाला भी 103 degrees ही है. If I measure from the diameter. Okay, ये अभी भी 105 है. तो यहां तक P waves, S waves, P waves, S waves, P waves, S waves. तो ऐसा चल रहा है. Beyond this, there is no S waves, but the P waves, they can come here, they can enter fluid, but they become slow. When it becomes more speed, they bend outwards. In the fluid, they become slow. Okay, so they will bend inwards. ये ऐसे अंदर जाएगा. Okay, अंदर जाके again दोबारा ऐसे अंदर जाके बाहर आएगा. Okay, it comes here, it goes inside. Again will bend inside. Because ये densest है, ये हल्का है. Okay, so I'm moving from dense towards lighter. It will again bend inwards. It will not bend outwards like this. ठीक है? So bend inwards, again inwards and out. Inwards, inwards, out. And ये तो tangent है ही. Tangent here, tangent here, tangent here, and so on. तो ये जो maximum angle है, this approximately is 145, 149, 153, उस रेंज में है ये वाला. So in P waves, this is the P shadow. From 105, 103 से 145 तक shadow है. यहां पर नहीं मिलेगा, यहां नहीं मिलेगा, ये आपका shadow. Yes, Wasim, correct. Beyond 2900 kilometers was the outer core, correct. Way down. Shadow ये वाला पार्ट है. ये shadow क्यों है? Why is it a shadow? Because S waves can't pass at all. ये shadow क्यों है? Because P waves have bent. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो है नहीं, possible, they can move. But यहां पर अंदर bend कर गया. So S wave shadow is because the S waves cannot propagate through fluid medium. And the P wave shadow is because the P waves have refracted inwards because of the fluid mediums. जब बाहर आ रहा है, it again will bend inside. ठीक है? There are two lines. The diagram बना लो all of you. लिख लो. First write down and then we'll see. First draw the diagram. Okay. तो ये सारा P waves है. P waves, P waves, P waves. बस यहां पर P waves नहीं है. Between 105, 103 up to 145, 49 जो भी range है. यहां पर P waves नहीं है. The same thing here. From 105, 103 up to 145, 149, 150, whatever. यहां पर P waves नहीं. This is the P shadow. And this is the P shadow. Write down. For P waves, beyond 2900 kilometers in the outer core, for the P waves, beyond 2900 kilometers in the outer core, the P waves bend inwards. The P waves bend inwards because okay, in fluid mediums P waves become slow. In fluid mediums the P waves become slow. Next point, the P waves re-emerge. The P waves re-emerge at around 145, 150 degrees. At 145, 150 degrees with a shadow zone different from that of S waves. With the shadow zone different from that of S waves as shown in the diagram. as shown in the diagram. All fine, all of you? And again, please understand, ये एक generic diagram है. The fact is there will be variations even within this. The variations even within this. कहीं पर molten होगा, कहीं पर convection cell चल रहा होगा. Okay. So I'm assuming and cleaning of all of those variations. ये बहुत simplified वाला diagram है. Okay. It's not that कि अर्थ का हर लेयर में पक्का बढ़ने वाला डेंसिटी. There could be other rocks also. Okay. But in general, this is the pattern. Like in general, life expectancy is say 80 years. Like, ऐसा थोड़ी है कि all of them will live exactly 80 years. Some of them die earlier, some of them later, some variations होते हैं हमारे. So this diagram is a very, very simplified generic diagram to understand the Earth's interiors at a very, very superficial level. This is not geophysics in detail. ये बहुत ही high level का discussion है to appreciate in general. कि भाई core outer is fluid, the mantle becomes denser as you go inside. एक layer called atmosphere. That's all. No need more than this. All good, all of you? In the shadow zone, is there any seismic activity? अरे अमित, इस diagram का basis है कि आई एम अज्यूमिंग अर्थक्वेक यहीं पर है. ठीक है, आप अर्थक्वेक यहां ले लो, फिर इसका ऐसे डायग्राम बनेगा. आप अर्थक्वेक यहां पर ले लो, इसका फिर ऐसे डायग्राम बनेगा. द शैडो जोन्स आर इन रेफरेंस टू द अर्थक्वेक्स हैव चोजन. ठीक है, तो सिंप्लीफाई किया. रियलिटी में अर्थक्वेक यहां भी हो सकता है, यहां भी हो सकता है, कहीं भी हो सकता है अर्थक्वेक्स. So simplified it. आउटर कोर में स्लो होगा, पर इनर कोर में यस, इनर कोर में बढ़ेगा. इसलिए डायग्राम जो है, आउटर कोर में स्लो हो गया. ओके, सॉरी, ऐसे आया बेंड इनवर्ड्स और फिर आउटवर्ड्स, फिर ऐसे. ये वेरिएशंस हैं. आई एम सेइंग यस, but we don't need those details, Neeraj. In the outer core, it bends inwards. In the inner core, it bends outwards. Then again, it bends inwards. ये variation रहेगा. But I'm skipping all of those variations. It's like, Google Maps. Okay, आपने डाला from origin A, origin B, estimate time 2 hours. बीच में सुसु लग गया, भूख लग गया, टायर पंचर हो गया, चलने का मन नहीं किया, नींद आ गया. वेरिएशंस हैं. गूगल बता रहा है कि इस तरफ मत जाओ और आपने वैसे ही घुमा दिया. ठीक है, तो जनरल में इफ ऑल थिंग्स रिमेन सेम एंड यू आर मूविंग एट 40 km/h, दिस इज द टाइम यू विल टेक. वेरिएशंस तो हैं डेफिनेटली. बार बार समझा रहे हैं कि इसमें इमोशनल मत हो जाओ. डोंट थिंक यू हैव बिकम अ जियोफिजिस्ट. वेरी सुपरफिशियल. 10 मार्क का आंसर लिखना है. तो दिस इज अ वेरी हाई लेवल ऑफ जनरलाइजेशन. इसमें इमेजिन द कॉम्प्लिकेशंस. यू हैड मेल्टल प्लूम्स एंड कन्वेक्शन सेल्स एंड देयर इज टेक्टोनिक एक्टिविटी गोइंग ऑन. क्रेजी डायग्राम्स बनेंगे आपको. इसलिए अच्छा हुआ कि आपने जियोलॉजी नहीं लिया. ओके, यू हैव टेकन ज्योग्राफी. इफ दैट्स अ कंफर्टिंग फैक्टर फॉर यू. ये क्या लिख दिया आपने? लालू प्रसाद यादव. क्यों याद आया आपको? क्या हुआ? क्या सोच लिया? जाते थे कहीं और पहुंच गए. ठीक है, whatever. I mean, if you're looking at this, you can think of Lalu Prasad Yadav. I don't know. Okay. If I make some other diagram, फिर पता नहीं एलन मस्क सोच हो गया. I don't know. आज के वजह ट्रम्प का जमाना है. So, ठीक है. So I'm done with the interiors of the earth and what are the evidences, and the last part is where the questions are. Now, my suggestion to all of you is जो हमने अभी पढ़ा ना, इसको आप एक टेबुलर फॉर्म में बनाओ, विच इज ओके से upper layers, slow speed from around 3 to 6. This is PGSG waves. This is the granitic layer. At 30 kilometers depth, a sudden increase in speed. This is the Conrad layer. Okay. Till 1000 kilometers, the P waves fastest, around 7.8 per second. This is the lithosphere asthenosphere boundary. Okay. Then beyond lithosphere, beyond 100, the sudden drop in speed. Okay, 7.8, 7.3 हो गया. This is the asthenosphere layer, which is semi-molten. So this is the location. This is the behavior. This is the inference. पूरा का पूरा 2 pages in one table like this. ये कर लोगे आप लोग? This is a summary. एग्जाम में इसको चिपका के आ जाना. One small paragraph on P and S waves का क्या behavior concepts है, and the P and S waves behave as shown in the diagram below, in the table below. ये table आपका बना होगा 5-6 points का. That's it. So one column is location, one column is behavior of P and S waves, and one column is the inference. What does it mean? This is a summary of discussions till now. Synopsis making is an art. Remember this. You will learn it slowly, gradually. Ultimately, क्या होगा? पूरा का पूरा geomorphology summarized in 4-5 pages. That's all. You don't need more than that. अभी आपका समरी बनेगा 30-40 पेज. मैं पढ़ाऊंगा आपको approximately 200-300 पेज. On average, each class is 8 to 10 pages. Okay. आपका क्लास होगा 25 दिन जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी. मल्टीप्लाई कर लो आपका 250 पेज. उसमें अगर बड़ा छोटा एंड राइटिंग है, another 50 pages. तो your first target is ये 200-300 पेज को कंप्रेस करो into 20-30 pages. Second round, compress into 2 or 3 pages, 5 pages. Exam के पहले eventually पूरा geomorphology 1 page. Okay. I think there are some samples I have. I'll show you if I can later on maybe. The toppers कैसे बनाते हैं synopsis. And it cannot happen in the first go. Remember this. Don't even try that. Okay. If you try that level of summarization, you will mess up bad. ये धीरे धीरे बनेगा. Slowly, gradually. सर नहीं हमारा 1 में नहीं हो पा रहा, 2 में करो, ठीक है. ऐसे कौन सा क्राइम हो गया? But 2 is very high. It must reduce in time. One example of summarization is what I taught for 2 hours yesterday, I summarize in 10 minutes today. That's a way of summarizing. I'm moving very fast, touching the points and moving on. We need that. Take all of you? All good? Now, take out your books, please. We'll mark something down, then I'll move on to the next topic. First, I'll show you some pages of NCERT. अगर है तो अच्छी बात है, otherwise you take down the pages, but make sure आप जाके ये बात पढ़ लेना. Tomorrow your day off because of Sunday, and some of you giving prelims. All the best. Okay. हाँ, लाइफ में एडवेंचर होना चाहिए. आपके लिए एडवेंचर है. This is the book, Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Don't buy the latest one. Okay, सरकार ने पढ़ाई आसान कर दिया आपका. Okay, this is an edition of which year I do not know. This is 2006 edition. If you can see this, okay, edition मिल जाएगा आपको नेट में. Okay, Telegram channels में a lot of people will share this with you. देख लेना इसको. And इसमें the first chapter को छोड़ दो. Okay, the earth. Second chapter, unit 2 में earth, the origin and evolution of earth. there is something in the page 1. Can you all see this? Yeah, it says a large number of hypotheses were put forth by different philosophers. One was by German Immanuel Kant, known as and mathematician Laplace revised it, known as the nebular hypothesis. The hypothesis considered the planets are formed out of a cloud of material associated with the youthful sun, which slowly was rotating. Okay, 1900s में चैम्बरलिन का कुछ और थ्योरी, ये एक नेबुलर के बारे में है यहाँ पर. This is page number 14, page 14 of your NCERT. Read something here. Then page 15 में, okay, there is something on star formation. Star formation. इसके पहले कॉलम में it's about the Big Bang theory. Okay, so I'm teaching you about what I've taught you right now. Star formation, it talks about a galaxy starts to form by accumulation of hydrogen gas in the form of very large cloud called nebula. The nebula develops localized clumps of gases. The clumps grow and become denser gaseous bodies and so on. Okay, and something it started to about 5-6 billion years ago. Okay. Then you come down. The following are the stages in the development of the planets. The formation of planets. The stars, the localized lumps of gas within the nebula. Okay, the gravitational force that keeps the formation of the cloud to gas. In the next stage, page 16 mein, the next stage, the gas cloud starts getting denser. It forms small planets called the planetesimals. The gravitational attraction. Okay, some detailing here. Then you have one discussion in page 17 mein. Page 17 mein, the evolution of lithosphere. Okay. The earth was a volatile state in its primordial stage. Increase in density of temperature. Okay, fine. It says the matter starts separating. This is that density separation. They allowed the heavier material like iron to sink towards the center of the earth and the lighter ones to move towards the surface. In passage of time, it cooled further, solidified, forming dense smaller parts. This is the concept of your density differentiation. ठीक है? ये सारे questions possible हैं in the GS. They can ask you this. Discuss the stages in the formation of the planets. Okay, explain how a nebula forms into a planets. It's all NCERT based. ये वाला. In the class notes, we have a bit more of depth. That's it. Okay. Discussion here. The page 14, something in page 15, 6 and 17. It's chapter 1 में है. Then in chapter 3, okay, the sources about the interiors. Earth's radius is about 63700. We have called this as approximately 6400 kilometers. Round off कर दिया हमने इसको. The direct sources, ये सारा straight question बनेगा आपके prelims के लिए. Okay, the study of the gold mines in South Africa as deep as 3-4 kilometers. Okay, deep ocean drilling project बताया आपको मैंने. Okay. Some drilling going on. Then drilling at Kola Peninsula. Kola Siberia का part है north में. Russia का part आता है. Kola in Arctic Ocean. Depth of 12 kilometers. Volcanic eruptions are a source of information. Direct है. Okay. Then this is page number 21. Chapter 3, page 21 में discussions है. Page 22. There are indirect sources. Says we know through mining activity the temperature and the pressure increase. Okay, the density also increases. Another source of information are the meteors that reach the Earth's surface. The other indirect sources are gravitation study, magnetic field study, and the seismic activity study. Okay, so gravity का थोड़ा बताया इसमें, how the gravity can change because of the different type of matter. कहीं पर dense है तो ज़्यादा gravity है, कहीं पर कम dense है तो less gravity है. It says there's an uneven distribution of mass within the Earth's influence. Okay, the variations are called as gravity anomalies. Oh, sorry, ये वाला. The other sources are gravitation, magnetic field, and seismic activities. The uneven distribution of mass influences the value. Gravity anomaly. Anomalies are information about the distribution of mass, something of magnetic surveys. So just one short paragraph. What is gravity and studies? The main discussion is studying of earthquake waves. Earthquake waves, okay. There are body waves, there are surface waves. ये पेज 22 and पेज 23 में है. Okay. The velocity of the waves change as it travels the material, the dense material, the higher the velocity. Okay, and the direction also changes. There are two types of body waves. There are P waves and S waves. Primary waves like sound waves, S waves. Okay, S waves is for material, important. Okay, the surface waves are more destructive. How they move, propagation. We have something on the shadow zones. So page 23 is the important page. यहाँ पे एंगल दिया हुआ है 105, 145 degrees. The emergence of the shadow zones. Okay. The two diagrams you need are in page 24. This is a P shadow diagram. This is an S shadow diagram. ये 105 यहाँ लिखा है और यहाँ 145 लिखा हुआ है. This is the P shadow zone and this is the S shadow zone. कुल मिला के 6-7 पेजेस हैं and these readings must not take you more than half an hour because आप and the sequence is पहले नोट्स को समराइज करना. Without summary don't enter the books. All done, all of you? There's NCRTs. Okay, fine, they will work. Now you'll open up the page in your Shabbir Sir Geomorphology. Chapter number 5, Constitution of Earth's Interiors. हाँ बोलो कुलदीप, what is it? ये पहला पेज इंपॉर्टेंट है. It has some data about what type of rocks, what density. Again a very fast read. Okay, you scan very fast. ये लाइन लाइन नहीं पढ़ा जाता है. Very very fast scanning. The rocks are crystalline. The sedimentary rocks. Okay, the density of Earth on average was calculated around 5.5 and so on. A fast read. Constitution of the Earth's interiors. ठीक है? This is page number 1 in my book is 105. 105. ठीक है? The next page, there's something on the pressure force. Why is the core dense? The high density of the core, high pressure prevailing because of the superincumbent load and so on. Okay, the core is heavy metals. Something about the core discussion is here. The temperature pattern. Okay, इसका summary लिखा है second column, page 106. The second column has a summary of the temperature pattern. Wherever there is the tectonic activity, temp is around 1000. You go into mantle around 1500, 2000. In the outer core around 3000. I have rounded off the numbers. Inner core it touches 5000 approximately. The summary of the temperatures, page 106 के second column में. ठीक है? And the source of the heat, there is a radioactive material source है, plus the residual heat also is the source. Okay, this is there. Then you have page 108. Page 108. What are P waves? What are S waves? What are surface waves? Right. This one column. Page 109 में you have the description of how the waves are changing. बस यही वाला पेज देखना है आपको. Okay. So the P waves, PG, SG waves, okay, P star, S star waves, medium velocity, upper layers. The upper layers यहाँ देखो लिखा हुआ है PG, SG waves. They start at 3 asset, they can go to 5.4. Okay, they can become 3.3. Granitic rocks. Okay, there's a PGSG waves. The intermediate velocities, they become more faster. Okay, 6-7 kilometers per second में जाएगा. Okay, then at the boundary of the lithosphere, they hit 7.8 kilometers per second and so on. इसमें S का भी वैल्यू दिया हुआ है. ये P का वैल्यू है, ये S का वैल्यू है. Okay, but you can remember only P value, don't want to get S value. That's fine. Okay, so this is about the behavior. It doesn't tell you about the shadow zone in much. Then page 1010 and 111. Those models, the model of Edward Swiss, CR Sima, and knife. The model of Daly. Okay, we have model of Arthur Holmes and the model of Van der Graaf. And in the notes, I have simplified the numbers. Okay, so you see how I'm approximating it. Okay, so page 110. Okay, then page 111 में a detail of the crust है. Crust का details. Then 112 में mantle का details. Asthenosphere is called as the low velocity zone. So आपको पढ़ना कौन कौन सा पेज है? Okay, पेज 108 से लेकर एंड तक पढ़ना है. 108, 109, 110, 12, 11, 12 and 13. The last is 13. 13 का जो लास्ट पार्ट है सर्ज टेक्टोनिक्स, इसको छोड़ दो. This you can leave. And I repeat, you will open the books only after you have done the summary of the class notes. Otherwise, ये सारा mess up होगा फिर. And your work must be कोई extra facts दिखा आपको, आप add करो synopsis में. All good? चलो फिर, that's about it.
Sir,
हाँ.
our notes we write down that the study of meteors is a direct source, while it is indirect source.
Yeah, indirect, keep it indirect. Okay. Meteors, meteorites is indirect source. Yes. Yes. Okay, thanks Kuldeep, all the nice words. Audio is echoing. आप बहुत देर से बोल रहे हो बच्चे, अब तो खत्म हो गया क्लास. पहले बता तो कुछ करते. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye bye, take care. We meet on Monday. By the way, tomorrow you have your prelims test. Okay, so it will be nice if you see what questions are asked GS में. Okay, and maybe see if you could have qualified had you appeared. Okay, जो बोलता है हमें ट्रायल अटेम्प्ट चाहिए, कर लेना कल शाम को बैठ के अपना ट्रायल अटेम्प्ट और औकात देख लेना अपना. Will be fine. I'll have some live sessions also tomorrow discussing the paper. We'll share the links with all of you. You can have a watch there. Chalo, all of you, bye bye. Take care.